Hello and welcome friends. In Unit 1 up till now we have discussed quite a few topics: communication, definitions, importance. Then we talked about the various uses of communication, what we try to achieve through communication. We talked about the standard communication model. We talked about the various elements involved in communication. We talked about the types of channels that are there. And we talked about some examples as well. And then in the last session that we talked about the barriers to effective communication, wherein we talked about the physical, semantic and cross-cultural barriers. Now today is the time for us to understand what we mean by organizational barriers, what we mean by psychological barriers, right? Now let's have a look at organizational barriers. Slow movement of information is one of the organizational barriers that happens particularly in organizations. Now have a look at these many papers which are there. This is the case with many government as well as private organizations in India, because they have simply not gone for computerization, because of which it is very, very difficult and time consuming for them to locate an information. If you come to Degree College Pithoragarh and if you want to find out about a particular student who passed out in the year 1998, we would have to look at a hell lot of records. Why? Because we simply do not have everything on our computer. Had we had everything on our computer, we would have probably produced the full record within a minute, but that is not the case. And because of this, there is very slow movement of information in the organizations. There are many hierarchies also. For example, if you talk about different organizations, you would have a look at the hierarchies in different organizations. There is a CEO, then there are some board members, then there are divisional heads. Below the divisional heads there are departmental heads. Below the department heads there are lower management people, the assistant managers and the deputy managers. Below them are there the executives. So now, for example, if the executive wants to pass on some very important information to the top management, let's say that he wants to pass on this information that the customers are not liking a particular product, or they are not liking the taste or color of a particular product, he would communicate this particular information to his immediate supervisor, maybe the deputy manager, who would then go to his departmental head, his immediate supervisor, to communicate this information. The departmental head then would communicate the same thing to the divisional head, who then would communicate it to the board members or to the CEO, and this will take a lot of time. And the communication would not be as effective, because ultimately, because so much time has been taken in movement of this information from the executive to the CEO level, the company would probably not be able to effect timely modifications in the product. Why? Because it has already taken them almost 15 days or 20 days in just understanding that the customers are not liking a particular variant or a particular taste of a product. So it would be a little time consuming for them. It will take them a lot of time to modify their product according to the customer taste. So this is an example of organizational barrier. Now have a look at another of organizational barriers: deliberate withholding of information. You know that the current age is known as the information age, and it is said that information is power. Now have a look at this particular cartoon. Now what is this lady saying? Now this is a new guy who has probably joined this particular organization, and he's asking for some information. What does this lady say? She says, "Sorry, can't tell you how we arrange files here." So basically this guy must have asked her as to how you arrange the various files. So she is responding that she would not be able to disclose this particular information. And have a look at this thing in the brackets. Why is she saying so? She is saying so because if you know everything, why would I be needed? Do you understand? This lady is basically telling this guy that if I tell you everything I know, then I would not at all be needed in the organization. You can very well replace me, and then the organization can replace me at will. They can fire me whenever they want. So if I hold on to some information, it would secure my position in the organization, because that particular information is privy to me only. Nobody else knows that, and that information is important for the organization. The organization would never think of terminating my services, of asking me to quit the job, right? So this again is a reason for slow movement of information, slow movement of messages, information in an organization, and barrier coming up for movement of information in organizations. Right now, let's have a look at some psychological barriers. Before that, I have an exercise for you. Have a look at this particular picture. You've got full 1 minute. So what you will do is, you will just stop the video, just pause the video right now, and take full 1 minute to have a look at this particular picture. You can have a look at this particular picture. The time limit for you is 1 minute. So you can pause the video here. I'm moving forward. You'll have to pause the video here, right? Right. So I'm moving forward. You pause the video here, have a look at it for 1 minute, and then restart the video. Start playing the video again, right? But I'm moving forward. Now, tell me, how many faces were you able to attend to, were you able to see in the picture that you had a look at for 1 full minute? How many people were you able to recognize? You were probably not able to recognize all the faces. You were probably not even able to attend to all the faces, to have a look at all the faces. This is what we know as selective attention. When you are faced with such stimuli, you do not attend to all such stimuli. For example, when you are going through a market, you are passing through the shops, you generally do not attend to all the shops and all the banners. You only focus at, you are only able to comprehend a few of them, right? And this is known as selective attention. You will be studying about this in organizational behavior, in perception. You would be talking about these topics, so I'm not going to get into so many details, but this is what selective attention is. Again, I'm taking another example. You are going through newspapers, you are reading a particular newspaper a particular day, but you would probably not be paying equal attention to all the news items, to all the ads, to all the tender notices which are appearing in that particular newspaper. You only attend to few of them. Likewise, when you come to college, do you pay attention to every single individual that comes across? There are 1,000+ students who might come across you on a particular day, but you would not be able to pay attention to all of them. You would not be able to remember all their faces. You would not be able to focus on all of them. You would only focus on a few of them. So this is what selective attention is, right? And this leads to selective retention. Since you have not focused on everything, you only remember a few things. You remember only those things which you have probably attended to. And this is known as selective retention. Retention is how much you have retained in your memory. You do not remember everything. I'll give you another example. If you have watched a particular movie, let's say 15 days back, do you recall every single scene that you have watched? You would probably not be able to do that. Or maybe you have watched a cricket match. Do you recall every single moment, every single ball delivered in that cricket match? You would not be able to do that. You would only remember the highlights. You would only remember the most crucial runs or the most crucial wickets, right? Likewise, when you are sitting in a classroom for 1 full hour, when you go back to your home, do you recall every single thing that was said by the teacher? No. You recall only a few things, right? So these are examples of selective attention and selective retention. Now, why did I show you that picture? Let me go back. Now you would have probably seen this lady, because you know this lady. You probably would have seen this lady in this particular picture. You would probably not even have seen. Did you? Be very honest. Did you see this particular photo? You probably never attended to this photo. You probably never attended to this particular photo as well. You probably never attended to maybe this particular photo as well, right? So you were only able to pay attention to only a few faces, and those were the faces with which you are already familiar. Maybe this lady with whom you are already familiar, you know who this lady is. Maybe Amitabh Bachchan over here, maybe Deepika Padukone. Maybe you forgot to have a look at who this guy is, right? Because you are not familiar with this guy, or maybe you had a look at this particular guy, but you were not able to have this look at this particular guy. You were not able to attend to this particular guy. So this is what I meant by selective attention. So though I have shown you pictures of so many Bollywood personalities, in your mind you have been able to register only a few of them. Maybe Vidya Balan, maybe Kareena Kapoor, maybe Shah Rukh Khan, maybe Paresh Rawal, maybe Sanjay Dutt, but most certainly not this particular guy. Right? So this is selective attention and selective retention. Focusing only a few things is selective attention, and being able to retain only a few things is selective retention. And because of which, if I ask you who all were there in this particular photographs, you would not be able to recall all of them. And this is a barrier in communication. Resistance to change is another barrier in communication. The teacher tells you, boss, start studying if you want to have a good career ahead of yourself. But it gets registered in your mind, you listen to it, you attend to this message, but you still do not change, you still don't work hard, you still are not regular in the class. Why? Because you resist change, and generally people are change resistant. Have a look at this particular photograph. When this guy asks you, who wants change? Kisko badlav chahiye? Everybody is raising their hands. But when he says, who wants to change? Kaun badalna chahta hai? Nobody is there. Everybody has disappeared. Have a look. No hands raised. What do we mean by this? This means that everybody is okay with the change, but nobody wants to change his own self. Nobody wants to change herself, himself. Right? And that is the case with you also. The teachers have been telling you, study, be regular in the class, don't miss the classes, don't miss the video lectures, but you don't do that. Though you know also that it is good for you not to miss the lectures, but you still do not do that because you simply do not want to change, because it is very difficult to change. But let me tell you one more thing. I hope you understand that this is a barrier in communication, because the teacher intended you to change and he sent across a message to make that happen, but you did not change. So what the teacher intended actually, that didn't actually happen. So the feedback was that the teacher is still not attentive in the class, or the teacher, for example, there are students like Manu, Saurabh, they're still not attentive in the class. Ojha Sahab is still not attentive in the class. So they don't want to change, right? And that is why the whole communication from the end of the teacher is ineffective, right? And that is how it's barrier to communication. Fine. Now please understand that though nobody wants to change, but the change is the only thing constant in this world. And if you don't change, you are likely to fail, right? Not only in the exams, but in your life as well. So you need to be welcoming of change, right? In fact, change management is a topic that is taught at the MBA levels in business institutions, business education institutions. Now filtering, let's have a look at what do we mean by filtering. Filtering, I hope you know what filtering is all about. Now let's have a look at this particular picture. There are two things that this particular guy wants to communicate to his boss. Now this is a boss and this is a subordinate, and he wants to communicate that there has been an increase in sales, which is a good news of course, but there have been some customer complaints also, which is not a very good news, and that is why it has been shown in red. But then he fears the reaction of his boss, so what he does is he applies a mental filter, and what he says, what he tells the boss is only the good news, only the good stories. Okay, the sales rose, but he doesn't mention that the customer complaints have also come in, right? So this again becomes a barrier to communication. Would the boss be able to understand that there have been customer complaints? Would he be able to order? Would he be able to direct some corrective actions to ensure that there are no customer complaints in future? No, because he does not know at all in the first place that the customer complaints have been there. So this is what we know as filtering. This can also be an example of organizational barriers. Generally the subordinates don't provide the bad news, don't let the bad news to reach the top management, and this is an example of filtering. Fine. So thank you very much for your time. In the next session that we will have, we will be wrapping up unit 1.